we got this car jacked up. It is ready to yank this rear end out. So we got disassemble coilovers, the anti-roll bar, 4-link connectors, diagonal link, and pull this rear end out, strip it down, and let's get it all cleaned up and ready for beautification. Let's get it. Is no rear end. We got the rear end on the table, all the vitals taped off. We got all the hardware here for the 4-link, diagonal link, anti-roll bar, shocks, all that stuff. So these I'm gonna take apart, clean them up, swap the springs. I'm gonna clean up the roll bar links. I don't know what got all over them, some weirdness. Let's get this bad boy prepped up and ready for paint. Rear end is all nicely freshly painted. Waited a day for it to cure, day and a half. Came out okay. Had interesting issues with my spray gun, but managed to work through it. Sort of just threw in the rear end with just the 4-link bars holding it in. That was a pain. Probably suggest having a second person help you, putting in a big rear end like that. That's super heavy. Okay, so now we could get with cleaning up, swapping out springs. I need to do something with this diagonal link. Let's get it. Okay, I wanted to salvage these coilovers. They look pretty rough. Let's see how clean we could get these bad boys. Blown apart. These are all pretty scraped up. I'm gonna clean these up. This one's got a pretty good gouge in it. Clean this up, see if we could polish up these shocks, get them looking like new. Dirty, crusty, nasty to looking like new. Look at that. Looking perfect. Just needs a little elbow grease, boys. Let's get the rest of this done. Okay, now we have all the hardware and everything cleaned up. The shocks came out really good. All the hardware here is really good. Top plates I reshot because they were pretty rough. These are the replacement springs. They are QA1s. Should work great. So now let's assemble these bad boys up and get them in the car. Product with these coilovers. I think they came out good. No need to spend another $700 when I had these to salvage, and I got them looking just as new. Let's throw these in the car. Everything's looking pretty in here. Coilo's looking good. Rear end, the anti-roll bar links all nice and clean. Diagonal link bar. Everything's looking mighty fine under here. On to the next step. Okay, in the process of making my wheel tubs, I got the end cap in there. I made a template out of cardboard, fit it in there. Obviously the goal is to get it nice and tight in here, so a few areas I added with tape that I know where to add. Same thing over on this side. Looks pretty tight all the way around. You want to leave a little gap. You don't want to go in directly to the body, because once you do burnouts and body starts flexing and rattling, it's going to just mess up your paint on the outside of the body and a bunch of other things. You get the general idea. A big old tub in there. Now I think I got the template pretty close on the cardboard end, so I'm going to lay that out on the actual metal for the tub. Cut it out. I'm going to cut everything a little bit long because I'd rather be long than short, or else you're screwed. And let's pray this fits. Let's get it. Well, we got one in, about 85%. Still got to do a little bit of trimming, a little bit of tweaking. It's going to need a little bit of supports in the front and the back just to keep the general shape round, because it likes to bow out when there's obviously no support on the other side of the tub. It just goes straight to the body, so we'll have to epoxy in some tabs, get it all nice. Maybe I'll run a little support bar to the front and back and make it all pretty. But the overall shape is in there, so now we're gonna start with this one. As you can tell, I got the end plate in, held in by a couple of clicos, so now I got to do a whole bunch of measuring from this side to the body. Go about every 2 inches or so, all the way around. Take all my measurements, and then I will know how to make my template, lay that on the piece of metal there, make my cut, and then of course it won't fit, so you gotta make more adjustments. But it's good to be long than short, because you can't put back material. Let's get the measure in. So we did all our measurements. You can see all my chicken scratch. You're probably wondering why I didn't go all the way to the edge. I got a bigger gap here. Well, that's because if you flip this around, I did the line of the 4-link frame. This is the bottom of the frame. So this whole section below the red line is coming out. So we're gonna cut that whole section out. We obviously don't care about measurements here because this is all going to be gone. So the tub will start from this point and it'll end at that point. So now we got our measurements. We will take those measurements and apply it to a big piece of cardboard as a template. This is what I've already done for this side. So it should be fairly the same, considering body panel from left side, right side should be fairly the same, but this thing's, yeah. So this should just be inverted and it should be relatively close. So let's give it a try. And then once you get the cardboard all cut, taped in place, this is essentially your wheel tub. Let's get this thing test fit and see where we screwed up. Let's get it. Okay, got everything cut out and clearanced. These are just rough cuts. We'll clean everything up after everything is known to be test fitted and looks good. Still have to cut out all this leftover metal. Like that side over there is all nice and clean. Okay, and also let's make the adjustments. You can see the red line. Those are all the little trims I gotta do. That's one last test fit. And if this is all good, we will put together the tubs and then transfer this onto the tub, cut, should be good. Let's do it. Okay, got the left side in. Now we're looking like a frickin' race car in here. I definitely like how everything came out. Everything came out symmetrical. I made sure everything started and ended the exact same positions on both sides. And from the inside, came out super clean. I followed that frame line like I said earlier I was cutting. I just have 3 Clecos holding everything in. So now we could move on to this back section. As you can see, the backs are flared out. It's because there's no support here. So I'm gonna figure out a way to run some kind of support, little round tubing across, because I don't want the floor metal to sort of take up all of this. There's a little bit of resistance, so I don't want it really holding all that resistance back. So I want to support it first before I put metal down. Same thing on this side. You can see it's peeling away a little bit, but other than that, she is coming together, boys. All right, so I made this little rod here with a little tab that I epoxied in. You can see it, and then the rod goes inside of it. And I drilled a hole on the inside of the frame, so that'll hold back the tension of the tub just a little bit. I got the tab on that side. I just haven't run the rod yet, but that's the general idea of just to sort of hold it in place before I put in the trunk tin. This section of the tin, I'm going to start working in the center section between the tubs. So I got most of the tin laid out on the ground. This is the trunk section. This is, obviously the 4-link center section going up through down the center. This 2 sections here are behind the seats. Basically, these sections here. So the section that is missing is right here. And I measured in between tubs. I want it to sit nice and tight, flush on top of the frame rails, so it's basically nice and flush right to here. Obviously it can't go any further or else it hits the tubs and it'll look like crap. So I measured it out and it was roughly about 23 5/8. So I made the measurements and I already made the cuts. just left this here just to show you how I would make straight cuts with just regular electric shear cutters. These things, you're gonna go all over the place and make a crappy cut. So I just clamped down a 2x4. Obviously that has not worked, a straight piece of wood, and you use that as a guide and just run your shear cutter right across, and it did a decent job. All right, this is cut. Let's fit this sucker in there, and if it all looks good, we'll fasten it with some Clecos. Let's get it. All riveted in, or Clecoed in. Everything looks pretty good. I got all the mounting holes for the Clecos, which will eventually be rivets. Everything's all symmetrical and even. Looks pretty good. And from underneath, as you can see, it's gonna clean everything up from the underside here. So yeah, it's starting to come together. The tin work is a very slow, tedious process. You don't want to rush it because then it comes out like crap, panel at a time. But this is probably going to end the video off here. Next video, we're going to finish up the tin work, do more interior stuff, trying to get all the ugly gone. We're going to be finishing up the back cross member tin, hopefully the trunk tin, and then by then, once all the tin is buttoned up, we're gonna give it a little facelift, and we're gonna show you that next video. So until then, I'll see you next time, guys. This is Costantino Garage.